Good morning, everybody. How are you all? There's two of you here. I am very early, but I was down here and ready, so I thought, why not start a little bit early? So I've got a bunch of lining to cut out for projects today. Oh, I had an email to say I've gone live. That's good to know. Yeah, I had a bunch of projects that need lining. I have cut out the skirt, the waistcoat, the Sorrento jacket, and the pinafore dress. So those four things need lining. And if we have enough time, or if I am not too tired, because lining, the cutting out really always hurts my feet, then we can maybe get the blue regular dress done, because that doesn't need any alterations, so I don't need to film anything for that. I have my hot chocolate, which is very fluffy. It's currently 17 degrees in here, so let's turn up the heater to get it warming up a little bit. So yeah, it's been a weird week. It has been a very weird week. Let's come a little bit closer so I can read the chat a little bit easier. Dee's here. Good morning. Good morning. Susan's here. Good morning. Yes, it's been another weird week. Maverick 60, morning from sunny Kent. Good morning. Yeah. I was going to do like a video about this, but then I thought, well, I don't know if I want to. And then I was talking to some friends about it, and they had similar but differing opinions on it as well. There's been like this over the years. I've been on YouTube for 7 years now, 6-7 years full time. And there's been, good evening, Angela, she is here. Good evening, Shanklin Peeps. There's been a couple of videos coming out, like, pretty much one a year kind of thing, of the, like, persuasion of, like, oh, these are things that I don't like in the sewing community, and here's why. And there's a new one that's come out recently, and I watched it, and I was just like, oh, okay. And a lot of the things that were being said were valid, very valid. Like, there's no point making something just for the sake of making it for content, even if that's your job. And as you guys know, this is my full-time job. So making content is my full-time job. But I don't think I try not to. I don't think I make something just for the sake of making it. I make it because I want the challenge, or I want the item of clothing, or I want to show you a technique that I've found, or I want to try something new and see if it works, and either tell you guys about it working or it not working. And so I do get the kind of like making stuff for content's sake. I agree with that. I don't think that is what should be done, just so you've got something to put up on your social media of some way. But another one of the trends that was talked about was the look what I've made in a year video, which I actually really love doing, because I first saw Bernadette Banner do it, and obviously hers was a lot smaller than mine because she hand sews most of her stuff. And, hundreds of hours have gone into each of her garments. Now, I obviously use modern methods and modern finishes and modern fabrics and modern patterns. So there's usually a lot less involvement going into those things. But for me, looking back over the year and looking back over the month as to what I've made, those are some of my best performing videos. And I really enjoy it. I like seeing what I've done and what I've made and what has worked and what hasn't. And then, things that in the time that I made them, I'm like, oh my gosh, I love this. And then if I never wear them, it's like, well, I love it, but why haven't I worn it kind of thing. It's for me, it's a review. It's like this is what I've accomplished this year. And I watch other people's ones of these. I really enjoy watching people's look what I've made, you know, like lookbooks as I call them, but lots of other names for them. But I enjoy seeing that. And the comment section on this video that I'm talking about was just, it's over 400 comments now, and the majority, not all, but the majority of people were like, yeah, I don't like watching those either. I find it really disheartening. Dee's just said, I love to see the summary videos. It's inspiring. That's my takeaway from it as well. But apparently a lot of people feel like, and again, this is, I'll get to this point, hopefully, if I remember, but they were saying that they feel like they don't measure up, so why even bother, kind of thing. And I found that as a really interesting takeaway, because I was just like, well, why consume some kind of that content if it makes you unhappy? And the quote that immediately sprang to mind was, comparison is the thief of joy. And just because somebody else is a quick sewer or is more experienced than you or is just making more things than you are doesn't necessarily mean to say that you're in the wrong. Like, sewing is a very personal thing. Like, lots of people do it for lots of different reasons. I started it because I couldn't find clothes on the high street that fit me, and I've turned it into my job because I'm a terrible employee and did not want to work for anyone else ever again. I wanted to be my own boss. So I've made it my job. And that's why I sew. And I do sew a lot. I don't need to sew this many clothes. We know this. And I, you know, my 20-piece capsule wardrobe that I put up the other day, I mean, realistically, with a few additions, like a proper warm coat and some proper loungewear, comfy loungewear, so maybe another 4 or 5 pieces, that would do me for until those clothes wore out. And obviously I would fix them and mend them, even though I hate doing that, but I would. But you know, I don't need any more clothes than that. But oh my gosh, that would be boring. I would be so bored. I love getting dressed in the morning, and today it's another Jackie dress in a electric Reeds Ponte. I've put this one on because it's high necked. I've got one of the Hortensia cardigans on that Mum has knit for me. I have these in every colour because they, you know, I could just get a black one, which I do have, and a white one, and then maybe one other coloured one. But for me, getting dressed is an expression of how I feel, and I've always been a maximalist. Always been a maximalist, like always. And the person who put this video up is a self-proclaimed minimalist. And, you know, like, neither is wrong at all. And I am conscious about the amount of stuff that I have, obviously. And I have this year tried to rein myself in and not buy as much fabric as I usually do, because we all know I buy a lot of fabric, and I have bought a lot of fabric this year. I have bought fabric that necessarily I didn't need, but if a pretty print comes out, then oh my gosh, yes. And again, this is my job. This is what I do for a living. And believe it or not, fabric hauls do really, really well on my channel. And this was something else that the comment section on this video was saying, that they hate seeing fabric hauls. It's just consumerism for the sake of it. And haul videos may have had their time, but they were something, it's a title to put in a video. Like the last few that I've done, there hasn't been anything brand new to show you. It's been stuff that I've taken from the stash, to, like, you know, the panels, those jersey panels, I've had them for since 2019. So, you know, I've had those for a good few years, and I finally worked out what to do with them. And I'm really glad that I did buy them, and I love them. And will I wear them? Like I said in the video, will I wear them all the time? No, but I will wear them, and I am going to be very glad that I have them to wear. So it kind of, it was the whole kind of like, oh, well, you don't have to, you know, to all the people saying, oh, I find it really disheartening. It was like, oh, well, you don't have to consume content that you don't like. Completely sitting there consuming content that had made me feel this way. And it was like, well, okay, I get it. Like, I'd seen the title, I'd seen the thumbnail. It was similar to something that came out a couple of years ago that caused a big fuss in the YouTube community as well. The audience was very on board with it. The YouTube creators felt hurt because of the way it'd been tackled. It was supposed to be funny, and it could have been funny, but it wasn't pushed far enough into satire to actually be funny, in my opinion. And again, my opinion. So you know, I was sitting there thinking, well, you know, if you don't like this stuff, why watch it? And then I watched this video and I didn't like it. So I get it. I do get it. But it was this weird thing. And like, it suddenly, like, I had grand plans for this week and I have sewn 3 knit projects. And then I started to feel guilty because I've sewn 3 knit jumpers. It was like, oh gosh, you know, maybe, is that too much? And it's like, well, I mean, in one sense, yes, of course it is too much. Nobody needs as much stuff as I have. But in the other sense, I wear everything that I make. I enjoy making it. If I didn't make these things, then this fabric's just going to sit here and do nothing. And it's just, yeah, everyone's got their own opinion on this, which is obviously okay. Nobody's opinion is correct. Your own opinion is how you feel about what's going on, which is totally fine. It's just one of those things where I was like, I don't know how I feel about this. The one thing that I did disagree with was equating these like 1-hour sewing challenges to fast fashion. Like, these self-imposed deadlines that people are putting on themselves are only making themselves either miserable or happy. Like, they're self-imposed. Fast fashion, to my eye, is somebody working in a factory for not enough money, too many hours, unsafe conditions. That is fast fashion. This might be, it might be throwaway fashion that these people are making. You know, like the other complaint was thrift flips, like going and buying just basically the biggest piece of fabric in a garment form that they could find and then making something tiny out of it. Those ones I used to watch and they do kind of bug me because it was just like, who's ever going to wear that? But then the person making it usually was a teeny tiny skinny waif of a thing and probably would wear it. But yeah, thrift flips for me. Tablecloths, curtains, because I have flipped a pair of curtains, as you guys know. My velvet jacket, which isn't here anymore. But yeah, that was the only thing that I disagreed with, because the person kept saying, oh, it smells like fast fashion. And fast fashion is a very different thing. And lots of people in the comments were pointing out as well that the Sewing Bee and programs like that have something to say for it, because they are constantly imposing stupidly strict and tight deadlines on their contestants for no other reason than the jeopardy of them failing, because, you know, giving them an extra 2 hours to make something that would be able to then be finished properly and made well isn't quite as exciting as people sewing up to the last second and having to, you know, like, oh my god, this hasn't got a button on it and that kind of thing. So whilst I like the Sewing Bee, the ridiculous deadlines that they impose on it bug me, and also obviously filter out into the general consensus or general, you know, consciousness of like, oh, but to make a coat, it should only take me 5 hours. And yeah, it was an interesting, like I say, these kind of videos come up, you know, nearly once every year or so, and somebody's feeling like that. And this lady's comment section, majority of people were thanking her and saying yes and like completely agreeing with her. And I have to say that I thought if I put a video out kind of doing my take on it like this, if I put a proper video out with like a title and a thumbnail and all those kinds of things, I would get my audience, you guys, coming in and saying, but no, we find it inspiring and we like it and things like that. And that's because you are invested in me as a channel and my, you know, you enjoy my content, and these people obviously enjoy her content as well. And I just, you end up without, yeah, in kind of like an echo chamber. There were a few dissenting comments on there, and there, you know, there were a few people pointing out that if something makes you miserable, don't consume it. But then I did exactly the same thing. So yeah, sorry, that was a long waffly 15 minutes, wasn't it? What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Dee says it's not comparison and there's no prize. Exactly. I love, like, I watch content like Bernadette Banner's and Morgan Donner's and those kinds of things. I'm never going to make stuff that way, ever. I'm never going to make stuff that way. And seeing them do it doesn't make me think, oh, I'm not going to make it because I can't. It's just making me think like, I love my sewing machine. I'm so grateful that I don't want to do things that way. That's not my bag. I still enjoy their content. I am still a patron of Bernadette Banner's. I Love Morgan Donna. Angela Clayton, oh my goodness, that dragon dress that she's just done, that is fantastic. Looks absolutely amazing. Hundreds of hours spent on that thing. Would I make it? No. No. I'd have nowhere to wear it. I don't want to do all that hand sewing. I just don't have the flair and creative eye that she does. Bianca from the Closet Historian, now she is somebody that I watch and I think, ooh, I could do that. I could do that. And the embroidered beetle mandragora jacket that she's done inspired me to go and buy that silk from Lady McElroy, and I'm going to embroider dragons on the back of it. But I'm going to use my embroidery machine and then hand embellish on top of it. So, you know, I'm taking somebody else's inspiration and thinking, how can I tweak this for me? So yeah, I don't have that mentality to social media. I don't see things and then think, oh my gosh, no, like they're far better than I ever will be. Why even bother? I don't feel like that, but obviously other people do. And that's the last thing I want for my channel. I really hope that people enjoy watching the stuff that I put out. And, you know, like one of the things that was mentioned in that video was they always hide their mistakes, or they finish something and they try and pass it off as if it's perfect. And I have to say, like, hiding mistakes, I don't put mistakes into the sew along videos, because that is supposed to be this is how you do the thing from start to finish. If I say to you, ask me how I know, it's because I've made that mistake previously, and that's why I'm telling you to do something this way, and trust me, ask me how I know. But for like the jumpers video, you know, like I completely forgot that there was a yoke, so mistakes were made, but I sort of like said, you know, this is the mistake I made. It's a happy accident. It's worked out quite well. But for future reference, I should have remembered this. So yeah, and then people rushing through things again just for the sake of content and putting it out as perfect when there's obvious mistakes in it. The other side of that as well is levels of experience. Like that person who might have finished the thing and said, oh, look at my perfect thing that I've made, even though other people can see a glaring error in it. They might, you know, they've spent blood, sweat and tears making this thing, and they might think that it is perfect, and it might be perfect for them. So bringing somebody down, I mean, if somebody's obviously like, I'm an expert and this is the thing and I've made this perfectly, and then there's a glaring error, that's slightly different. But the regular sewers being like, look what I've done, I'm so pleased with myself, and in their eyes it might be perfect. So yeah. Anyway, sorry. So Susan says, hello from Adelaide. I enjoy watching your make videos. Your garments are always so beautifully made. Oh, thank you. And I mean, that's the thing, like the clearly up on my soapbox today. But the other side of that as well is I do every now and again do like my can I sew a dress in a day. I'm gonna, for my Vogue shirt, it's gonna be can I make a shirt in a day, and I'm gonna trace it off, alter it, cut it out, and try and sew it in one day. I think I can do it. It's going to be a long day, but that's a self-imposed deadline on me, and it's a challenge for me, and it's hopefully going to be funny. Like that's how I'm going to edit it. I wouldn't ever make a comparison to fast fashion, as I said, like, because it just, to me, is, that's just, fast fashion is something very, very sinister and different. But I'm not going to compromise on finish. Everything's going to be French seamed. It's all going to be interlined. It's going to be finished to the best of my ability. So it's a self-imposed challenge for myself to make just hopefully an interesting video, but also to see if I can do the thing. So yeah. Dee says, I love having choice. Also why I always overpack when I travel. Oh my gosh, I am terrible for overpacking when I travel. I always take far too many things. Like this capsule wardrobe that I still not taken back up to the main house. I would totally take that for 10 days, probably a week. And there's more outfits in there than I need, but I would be very happy with that. But it's not 20 items, that's not that much. Moran says, hi from Israel, just popping up for a short time before going to the beach with the family. I am not at all jealous. Not at all jealous. And Julie's here. Hi, lovelies. Hello. Hopple Hobson says, why not make things just for the sake of that it makes you happy? It's a hobby. You wouldn't tell a scrapbooker to stop their hobby because there's no need for it. There's never a need for an extra bow, but I'm sure but sure makes you happier. I mean, that's the other side of things. There are very few other hobbies where people tell people to stop because they're making too many things. Very few other hobbies where people do that. I mean, they had brought into it bullet journaling and knitting. They had brought into it those kinds of content that they watch. But again, it's this weird thing of watching content that makes you upset. But I watched this video, and I watched this video a week ago, and it's still with me. And it's still making my head turn over and over and over, like, maybe she's right, maybe I shouldn't be doing as much as I do, but I enjoy doing what I do, and it is my job. It's not just a hobby for me. I mean, it was a hobby, but it's not just a hobby. This is my full-time job. So yeah. Erica says, sorry I'm late in, but if it's about the video about trends the women didn't like, then I agree with you that some things, but not all of it. Thought of you, and yes, you sew a lot, but it's not slapdash sewing. Thank you. Yes. Yeah, no. I will never make something quickly to get it finished. And that's another thing that bugs me about the sewing bee is they criticize them for the finish that they achieve when they've given them not enough time. It bugs the crap out of me. It's just so unfair. So yeah, but no, it's that video. And yeah, I mean, again, like, if you're not into watching the everything I made in a year video, then don't watch it. The title is in the video, like, and my last one was an hour and 45 minutes long. I'm going to desperately try to make this year's one a lot shorter, and I am going to do it this year because, as I said earlier, I love it. I love reviewing everything that I've made and talking about the successes and the fails. Yeah. Natalie says, good morning, Peeps. Good morning. Cara says, morning all. I enjoy your yearly roundup. As this is your full-time job, it's kind of equivalent to having a yearly appraisal. Yeah. I am my own boss. I am my CEO. So giving myself an appraisal of how I've done for the year. Next year's one's going to be interesting because it's going to be my year's things that scare me. So it's going to be a lot of, like, I am imagining it's going to be a lot of failures and some wins, and then some some tried and trues thrown in for good measure so that I don't get completely disheartened. But yeah, Caroline says, good morning all. Altering a wedding dress today. Good grief, you are very brave. My hot chocolate is the perfect drinking temperature. Tristan's here. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Sal's here. Good day, Sean and Peeps. The good thing about cosplaying for me is when something doesn't work out correctly, I call it battle damage and move on. Love it. Absolutely love it. And Karen says, hi all from Texas. Hello. Nia says, morning all. Morning. Joe says, morning from Brixton. I missed the beginning, but I guess you had some crappy comments. The stuff them. Oh, no. It wasn't directed at me. It was a video that, as I was saying, there was a video that comes out nearly once a year. It's a different person that does it most times. And this one was just the sewing trends that she doesn't like and why she doesn't like them. And there was quite a lot in there that I disagreed with. There was some stuff I agreed with, but yeah, it was one of those ones where it was just like, yeah, her audience loved it. The majority of the comments in her audience loved it, but then they are her audience, and she is minimalist, self-proclaimed minimalist, and I think it's one of those things where, like, if I'd put out my rebuttal video or a video of my perspective on it, my comment section would have been incredibly positive from you guys, as hers was, because the majority of an audience will gravitate to the kind of content that they like. And the YouTube algorithm served me this video because lots of people are watching it. So it was like, oh, it's sewing related. Here you go. Papa's outside. I think he's giving the birds some new seed. So, yeah. Karen says, hi all from Texas. Nia's here. Good morning. Julie says, what video are you referring to? I'm sorry, I got in a bit late. It's all right. I haven't named the channel. I haven't named the video. I'm not going to, just because I don't want to send a bunch of people over there. But, like, not that you would, because you're all, lovely adults. But yeah, it's just, It's just one of those things, like, you know, the video that came out a couple of years ago really upset me, like really upset me, because the person who'd done it had tried to make it funny, and as I say, hadn't gone far enough in the satire route to kind of make it obviously like she was taking the mick, and it came across a little bit like holier than thou rather than actually funny. And she was calling out, there was a lot of YouTubers who got upset by that video. The audience, not so much, but the YouTubers that were being not called out. But yeah, that one upset me. But then I watched it again recently because of this other video, and actually I was just like, you know what? Why are you comparing yourself to these other people? Why are you watching this content that makes you feel upset? But I did the same thing. I watched the content. So yeah. Crazy Real Vintage Thrifter says, hi from Wisconsin. Don't forget to hit the like button and think you should do what makes you happy. Yes, exactly. Yes, 96 of us and 20 likes. Bree says, hello, Shan and Peeps. Hello. Shambolic says, morning, Shan. Morning, Peeps. Happy to watching live. Less happy to be able to do so because I'm curled up in bed with the flu. Oh, you poor thing. Feel better soon. Caroline says, my niece is getting married at the beginning of November and bought an X sample dress and needs to be adjusted, need to adjust the straps for the lace bodice overlay and shorten by 4 inches all round. Oh, good luck with that. Carmen says, hi, Shan and Peeps. Cape Town weather is as strange as the block out material I'm trying to struggle to add to the curtains I'm making. Prayer and wine is needed. Good luck with that, Carmen. Black Forest Ghetto hot chocolate. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Yeah, that's why I've had a weird week. And if you came in late to the conversation, go back and watch. There's about first 14 minutes of me kind of talking about it. It's it gave me kind of like weird feelings this month, because it was suddenly like, oh gosh, should I not be doing the thing that I enjoy? Should I not do this? And then a crisis of confidence. And then it was just like, you know what? No, like, I love what I do. I don't make things that I don't wear very infrequently. Oh, I did have another point as well. Yes. Do you remember how earlier this year I did a video about what I should be wearing? Because somebody was like, you always make fit and flare dresses. You used to try different things and you don't anymore, and it's boring. And it's like, okay, but will I get vilified for trying a new style and not liking it and then end up donating the clothing? But then I also get vilified for continually making the same thing over and over and over again. There is no, like, is there a happy balance? And I think there is, and it's my happy balance, and people can consume or not consume what I put out there accordingly. And I definitely, I always enjoy hanging out with you guys on Sundays, because I get to like chat through things that I'm thinking and put some thought process into them. And yeah, I suddenly feel a lot better about it all. But yeah, beginning of this week, it was like, oh crap, I've made 3 sweatshirts that I'm not going to wear all the time. I'm going to wear them. I am going to wear them, but I'm not going to wear them all the time. And then suddenly I was like, oh crap, like, am I doing the things that I said that, like, yeah, do what makes you happy. As long as you're not hurting anyone else, do what makes you happy. Yeah. Karen says, hi, Shani Peeps. Hope you're well and going to have a lovely day. Prayers for Victoria with their floods. So fortunate to have a beautiful day in Queensland today. Oh, gosh, yes, absolutely. Artie says, we should just remember to keep different criteria for pros and amateurs. Some people forget this nowadays. Also concerning other hobbies than sewing. You don't have to run marathons to call yourself a runner. You don't have to sew like a pro to be a sewist. Exactly. Why not just do your thing and enjoy getting inspiration and tips from more productive pros or faster, better runners? Yes. That's my outlook as well, completely. And I think I'm getting messages. I think that was kind of my takeaway from it as well, is like her audience obviously is very into her ethos, And so we're very, like, reading the comment section there wasn't great for me, because it was like all these people were agreeing with her and saying like how things that I do, they weren't attacking me personally. I know that on an intellectual level, but one of those ones where it was like my feelings got hurt because I do some of the things that they were talking about and talking about negatively, and it was just like, oh, but I don't do them for that reason, I do them for this reason. And it was like I wanted to defend myself, and then it was like, well, no, it's not about me, it's about her perspective and her opinion on it, and she's entitled to that. And I might think that it's not the right opinion for me, but it is for her, and obviously her audience, because like I said, the majority of comments on her video were positive. And as I say, if I put this little chat out into the world, I would imagine that the majority of comments that I get in my comment section from you guys would be positive as well, because you guys consume my content for the reasons that I put it out, because you enjoy it, because you find it funny sometimes. So it's echo chambers. We've all got to be careful about sitting in a little echo chamber with everybody telling us that we're right, with no outside kind of influence from. It's very easy to do, and it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. And in this case, this is a very frivolous topic, but yeah. Barbara says, hi, Shan and Peeps from Melbourne. We're having an awful floods here in Victoria. We have regional towns completely underwater and people have lost everything. My heart is breaking. I'm so sorry. I hadn't seen that. I hope that it all resolves itself very quickly. Una's here. Morning, Shan and Peeps. What video are you talking about? I'm not going to name the channel or the video. I mean, I pretty much have five trends in sewing that I don't like. But yeah. Karen says to Barbara, stay safe, please. It's so distressing to watch the news. Yes, obviously, please do look after yourselves. And I hope it all resolves itself very quickly for you. Bree says, good news, half your fabric has arrived. The rest is on its way. Obviously, 10 metres in one cut was too long, Australia wide, but it's 5 metres each and they'll be on their way to you soon. That's amazing, Bree. Thank you so much. Ooh. On that post as well, there was somebody asking if somebody would be willing to be their fabric mule and get them some and post it to Canada. They will obviously pay for the fabric and the shipping. Let's see. But yeah, somebody was. Here we go. Linda was asking, is anybody willing to get her some and ship it to Canada? So if anybody is willing to be Australian fabric mule, that would be awesome. The Peeps group is lovely. I love you guys so much. You're awesome. Right. So enough waffle from me. Shall I get on with cutting out some? Yeah, the same one, Brie. Shall I get on with cutting out some linings? Like I say, I did a cutting out session last night. I did film time-lapse bits of it, but mental health sucks, and you can like have the least stressful life in the world and your brain can still be really mean to you. And my brain has been being particularly mean this week, which is why there's only one daily waffle, why there wasn't a Saturday video. I was just struggling this week. So yesterday, also on Wednesday and Thursday, Dad had the builder here, or our like handyman gardener, Vaughan, and they were putting up another fence and gate. So all the proper video that I needed to film, I couldn't because Dad was drilling and sawing and power tooling in the background. So yeah. I couldn't film what I wanted to film, which was the 5 pieces from one pattern video, talky bits in that one. So I have filmed some of the time lapse, although I don't know how much of that I'm going to use, but it's nice to have more footage than you need rather than not enough. So I filmed that yesterday, and I got the Sorrento jacket, the waistcoat, the skirt, and the pinafore dress cut out. but they all need lining. I said this at the beginning, but there was only 2 people here then, so yeah. Vox3D says, I saw her video also about the sewing trends, and I remember thinking, I understand why she thinks that, but I don't agree personally for the reasons I sew. It's more my hobby and escape, but I accept her point of view and it's valid for her. Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm not saying that she's wrong. I'm just saying that it's a very different perspective than I'm coming from, for sure. And yeah. Yeah. Barbara says, unfortunately, there is more rain coming this week. Coming, so everyone is still on high alert. Oh gosh, please be safe. Bree says, did you go to the knitting and sewing group on the island? Yes, Mum and I did. I unpicked my Brains and Beauty, and also my red dress no longer has its zipper in there. Lots of people were saying that I should just let this out. There's not enough seam allowance to let it out. I think I'd already done it with minimal seam allowance at the time. So I do actually have a little bit more of this red silk left, and I was thinking maybe I should try and make a new bodice for this. And the trouble with that is I would need to trim off the top of the skirt, and I don't know actually how much silk I've got. Let's have a look. I've put it in my bag making stash because I was going to try and make a bag to go with it. But yeah, I was thinking maybe I should just make a new bodice for that skirt, but it wouldn't then be interchangeable. But on the other side of things is, like, am I ever going to get that small again? I don't think I've got enough here for a proper by hand London and a bodice to be cut out. Of the silk. I don't think there is enough there. There's enough to cut like the back pieces, but there's not enough to cut something out on the fold, I don't think. Maybe on the cross grain. I don't know, but I'm going to move this over from the bag making stash to the silk stash. So there might be enough for a top. Maybe I might revisit it. I might try and see if I can get a bodice out of what I've got here, because it is stunning. It's such a lovely silk. So maybe. But yes, so we did go. I got the bodice taken off of this one, and I just now need to cut out the new bodice. And I have found the purple mauve coloured, where is it? There, I found the mauve coloured stuff that I used for the waistband, so I can do that again, which is awesome. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was really nice just to sort of sit and chat. There was 10 of us there in total. Yeah, it was really fun. Erica says, I worked in alterations. Is there any way to just make side panels that go down into the skirt? I'd have to put a new waistband on, because the waistband is 100%. There's not enough in there, so it needs a new waistband, which I do have enough fabric for. I guess I could put like an inch wide panel in there, couldn't I? I don't think it even needs to be an inch. I think I need well, maybe it does need to be an inch. Maybe it does need to be an inch, so That's actually not a bad idea. Although the idea of unpicking silk dupioni does not really appeal. Yeah, it's 26-inch waist at the moment, and I've got a 28-inch waist. So I need to add 2 inches into it. So could put a brand new waistband on and then put little inch-wide panels in the side. That's actually a really good idea. I hate doing alterations, Erica. What are you doing to me? Erica says, I'd move a little bit more from the bodice so the panel isn't so narrow. It looks more intentional. Yeah, the trouble with that is because of the underarm. I kind of think because it's a solid print and because it would be an underarm side seam, I don't know that. Do you think? I think I might just, if I did do it, I think I would just, mind you, I've clipped that area really close, haven't I? I think if I've got enough, I just need to make a new bodice. It doesn't have to be the same bodice. I mean, to be fair, I could just take the bodice off and make a skirt out of this. Like, I could just make this into a really beautiful skirt. I don't know. I'll have a play around. We'll have a play around. Bruce says, good idea making a new bodice. Caroline says to Erica, I was just thinking the same. Bruce says, even better idea, the panel. Erica says, if I read that one. Erica says, I see. Nia says, could you add the extra inch either side of the zip? No, that would look worse, I think. That would look worse. Like a proper line down there. Although, can I get at it? Because I've moved my mannequins back. Can I get at it? Can I get my box of trims? Come here, box of trims. Mannequin didn't fall over. This is way more fun than cutting out lining, by the way. Thank you for indulging me. I made, actually this one I could use as the waistband now because it was supposed to overlap, but I bought this trim from the Stitching Elmers and I was going to make a detachable belt with it. So I was going to hand sew this onto this belt, which I stupidly put calico in this, but I took the calico out of these little end pieces so they weren't so thick, but they're the bits that are going to be the ones under strain because they're going to be where the hooks and eyes, or where the hooks and eyes would have gone. So they're the bits that needed the calico in them more than anything. But yeah, I was going to make a detachable belt. No, I was going to say like the strips going up the side to cover the, but no, I will do something with it because, yeah, I did. Mind you, it wasn't a proper corset; it was like a fashion corset. But I did try and put a corset on and zip it up, and it did zip up, but then the zip immediately just unzipped itself behind it. So, yeah, I do think I'm going to try and rescue that one though. I do probably have enough to do a grace bodice, like my, my do I have one down here? No, my smaller cleavage tastic wide strap. I probably have enough fabric to do that well. My ribbons for my dirndl that I am going to be making next year. Yeah, I bought quite a lot. I bought all the rest of the trim that they had in the shop, so I have got quite a lot of it. But yes, I could possibly do the grace bodice, which would look nice. So that's a possibility. Now I've got to try and get these back. I'm not going to go through my trim box again because I will get distracted by the shiny magpie, and my magpie tendencies will come out and I will get distracted. We don't want that. Got to get some lining sewn. There we go. Not sewn, cut out. Lining's cut out. Amy says, brilliant idea to make a new waistband and add panels. I'm kind of thinking that I might just make a new bodice, because there's big enough pieces in here that I'll then be able to use these to make the bag. So yeah. Sal says, I started a new story recently, a ghost story with a few differences. The ghosts only kill in the day, well-lit areas, and every person that dies becomes a killer ghost as well. So much murder. So much murder. Mim says, hello, Shan. Hello, Peeps. Hello. Erica says, that's gorgeous. Yeah. And Bree says, I agree with Erica. Yes, it is. It is indeed very beautiful. Very beautiful. Yeah, I think there's enough of my red silk to do the KB Grace bodice. And then for the circle skirt, obviously you just trim a little bit off the top so that it fits in. I'd like to maintain the top so that I could possibly take it in again in the future, but I won't be able to do that because of the way that physics works, and having to sew it in, it wouldn't work. You need to clip into the top of the skirt, so I would need to trim it down. But that's okay. It would be nice to be able to wear that. Or get a proper corset to corset my waist down by 2 inches, which isn't tight lacing. It's just a regular reduction, isn't it? And then make the bag and make another belt to go with it with that trim. Yeah, what should we do? What should we do? What should we do? So Felicia says, good evening, everyone. I enjoyed your impromptu coat planning from a few weeks ago this morning. Lovely outfit again tonight. Thank you. Yes, I saw your comments, so Felicia. I'm glad I could keep you company. Bree says that red dress is absolutely gorgeous. It is. It is. It is. If I had had some calico in stock, then I might have made one of these for the dressmaker's ball. Because that's why I got this out, because I was trying it on to see if it would fit. So this skirt is interlined with calico and then lined with black cotton lawn to give it some oomph, some stiffness, which it kind of sticks out. I've also put one of the stiffer polycotton binding around the hem, which is actually not the greatest of idea because it's quite scratchy, but it does have some poof without having to have a petticoat on underneath of it. So yeah. And then I interlined the bodice with cotton lawn, so it was a little bit more forgiving, a little less structured than the calico would have done. Big Bird says, the corset I had for my wedding dress was brilliant. Not pretty, but effective. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, something like that. I liked your one you had for your wedding. I actually, do you want to hear, oh, I planned out my Make 9 for next year as well. Would you like a sneaky peek? Would you like a sneaky peek? So I have my projects that scare me, the Ziggy jacket, a proper corset. So that's what I'm thinking, is maybe I make myself a proper corset eventually that will cinch me down to that waist measurement, because as much as I love the Grace dress, I don't like my upper arms at the moment, which is ridiculous. I'm fully aware it's totally ridiculous, but the Grace dress is very revealing. So yeah, the blue butterfly dress, the fabric that Big Bird and my brother got me as a thank you for making the wedding outfits, blue morpho butterfly wings. I want to make my butterfly dress. The Dior silk skirts, I've had some Dior fabric that Mum got me from Kuwait for years. I'm going to take it with me next time I go up to Lady McElroy, because they have some silk satin that's £30 a metre, and I want to get the right colour. Big Bird says, would the Grace dress take flutter sleeves? No, definitely not. But I don't have to. There are other dresses that I could make, like the Gertie dress, with that could work for this skirt. There are options. I'll have to play around with the amount of fabric I have left and see. Yeah, the Dior silk skirts. I have had those fabrics for a long time. I know what I want to make with them. I have got a example from Monsoon that is similar fabric, burnout as well. Love it, looks great. So I'm going to use those fabrics for that. Whatever I've got left, make camisoles out of. But I want to take them with me up to Lady McElroy so I can see the silks that they've got in person to make sure that I get the right colour for the lining. The Trend Patterns trench coat. So I've mentioned it in a Get the Look for Less video a couple of times. It is this one. And I want to make some tweaks to it so it looks like a designer piece, and it needs to be fully lined. And I don't know why I've been putting this one off for so long. I have the fabric now. That was the reason for a long time, is I didn't have the fabric, but I have the fabric now. So, yep, that one. The lace dresses that I talked about before the dressmaker's ball, in my dressmaker's ball debacle video, the kind of solid here but then lace overlays, Nude Illusion lace dresses. I want to make those. My Dolce & Gabbana silk suit, my copy of Bianca's Mandragora suit, but mine would be dragons. My basic blocks, that is going to be January's project. The skirt, bodice, sleeve and trouser block. Fitted trousers. That's the one I'm most terrified about, because I don't know if I'm going to like them on me or not, but we shall see. The Berda Dirndl pattern that Karin sent me years ago. And when I was saying just now that she sent me the ribbon, the little doodads, she sent me the silk for it as well. So that one. My African wax print dress, Karen, very lovely Karen, it gave me a £50 voucher to buy for Etsy, but for my birthday. But the idea was I had to buy an African wax print. I, of course, bought the one with all the stones and glitter on it. So I'm terrified of it. I'm absolutely terrified of it. It's a giant print. It's going to look amazing, but it's going to be interesting to use. And then a colour blocked pencil skirt dress, very much like Bianca's kind of like, what was it, Realtor in Tomorrowland, her sort of grey and silvery one. I kind of fancy doing that. The idea of wearing that, just no, never going to happen really. But I really want to try and make it. And then Una, you'll be very glad to hear that I have decided that my Make 9 for 2023 is going to be charm patterns. And I've picked the Liz dress, the Hepburn top, the long sleeve Rita blouse, the Joan Wiggle dress, the Lucille pants, the Lady Dandy waistcoat, the capelet, the Night and Day dress, and the Stanwyck pencil skirt. So there's going to be some pencil skirts in my future. So there's going to be a lot of projects that scare me in there, which means that you probably will be seeing an awful lot of Annas and Graces, because I find those very calming to make. So let's see. Karen says, how much would you wear the corset though? I have one and don't actually wear it. Well, the reason I want to do the corset is because this dress would then fit. The blue butterfly dress, I want it to be corset. I wanted to wear it because I want to have a strapless dress, but or like nude, like illusion upper body part, but I have to wear a bra, and I hate strapless bras, absolutely hate them. So I want a corset, and I'm not going to wear it very often, but I will wear it. And I also want the challenge of making it, because I think that could be quite fun. So we shall see. Una says yes, and Bree says yes to hearing about next year's plans. Sal says, I need red silk like that to make the red robe that Lucifer wears in the Sandman show. That I want to do a cosplay of. That is red silk Dupioni. It's not very liquid, it's quite stiff. So I'm not sure if it would work for a cape. I haven't seen the Sandman yet, don't come at me. It's one of those ones I want to concentrate on when I watch it. Carol says, morning, Shan, popping in to say hi. Good morning. Big Bird says, I'm going to see a lot of you this year, aren't I? Living so close to Ilkeston. Well, I'm planning on going again when we go to the Festival of Quilts, because we will be going to the Festival of Quilts. So at least then. I sent them my ideas for the fabric print that I have. There might be special Peeps discount codes coming in your future. So yeah, there might be a KB designed fabric coming out. might like I would love it. And I know Jojo and Big Bird would buy it because they're the people that I've shown it to. But it might just be the three of us that would buy it. So yes. But yeah, we're definitely coming to stay at least once, probably twice, because the Crafty So and So Peeps have put up that they're doing the Dressmakers Ball next year as well, which I want to go to and want to wear my butterfly dress for. So yeah. Yes. Una says, woohoo! All very exciting. I didn't properly do Make 9 this year because I've been so abysmal at making them, but now I've been a bit more experienced. I'm getting fitted and I'm getting at fitting. I might have another go next year. I really enjoyed this year's one. I mean, I haven't finished it yet. I've still got 2 dresses to do, which are supposed to get done this month. But I still have October, December, November, December. So I've still got like 2.5 months to finish my Make 9. But I think I'm going to. And I've really enjoyed doing it from one particular pattern brand, which is why I'm doing the same with Charm. And this time round, or next time round, I have tried to kind of make it a wardrobe, because I've even done some fabric planning, but I won't tell you that until later. Sophie Lucia says it would be awesome to make a corset. I think so. It would be fun. It would be fun. Is anyone watching Mariah Patty? She just made a corset to go under her Breathe dress, and that corset looks amazing and definitely the kind of thing that I like. Nimue says, hello everyone, I'm joining you from work today. Don't forget to like the stream, peeps. Yes, there's 130 of us and 40 likes. Erica says, love the ideas. I'm so sorry to have to leave this live stream. Baby about to wake up and I need to call my grandmother before that. We'll look afterwards. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you for joining us, Erica. It was nice to see you. So Felicia says, ooh. Una says, ooh, fab. That would be amazing. Bree says, ooh, MG. Una says, I doubt it would just be you 3. And yeah, definitely going next year. Awesome. Nimue says, very excited for possible fabric designs. Possible, yes. Possible. Fingers crossed they like it. Fingers crossed they like it. I think they will. It's going to be interesting. Una says, I saw Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris last night and it gave me lots of ideas for next year's ball. Ah, cool. Susan says, good evening from Dungog, New South Wales. Hello. And so Felicia says, who made that corset? Mariah Patty was the corset I was talking about just now. So her method is really interesting. She is not a properly taught seamstress in any way. So it's all kind of like maths and coming at it from angles, and she wants to know the physics behind things. So I'm like, don't care about that whatsoever. But I do find her process really interesting, and I love the dress that she's going to be recreating, the Drew Barrymore Breathe dress. Right. So we need to cut out some Starship Enterprise. I've got all my pieces that need to have lining cut out of them over there. This is all the stuff for the next dress, which can go over here. Mum's desk. Mum is currently at church, so she won't mind me using her desk. Right, so we need one of those, and do I do that in the cotton silk or do I do that in something? Probably want to do that in a cotton. I could do it out of the denim. It's quite a thin denim. What is it? Am I kidding myself? Do I want to do that? This denim is so stretchy. I probably do want to do it out of a cotton. Do I have a navy cotton? Do I have? Ooh, let's do it out of a little piece of this. This is the continuous lap part of the sew over its Sorrento jacket sleeve. We'll have a little bit of that, because why not? Yeah, need to find a practical place to cut out that tiny little piece. Oh, no, pattern piece trying to escape from me. How very dare you. Oh, come here. Does not want to get picked up either. Aha, here we go. There we go. Just sorry, this is when the chat kind of calms down. Well, not my waffle calms down because I'm trying to concentrate. Cut on the bias, which is why I'm putting it down like this. It always amuses me when people are like watching my time lapse of me cutting out and they're like, oh, you completely ignore the grain line, you just put it anywhere, how'd you get away with that? It's like, no, do not ignore the grain line. That's one of my hard and fast rules. You can play with the grain line, as in cross grain or on grain, but don't just put fabric on willy-nilly, because it will affect the way that your clothes hang and fit on you. So if you cut stuff out on the cross grain, cut it out on the cross grain, but cut it all out on the cross grain. If you cut stuff out on the straight grain, cut it all out on the straight grain. If you decide that you want, or if your pieces are supposed to be cut on the bias, cut them on the bias, and then be really careful with them. Well done. Yes, feel good. Right. Let's cut off these little weird bits that I've made. Then fold this back up to go back into the bag making stash. Definitely going to be a lining for something awesome. In fact, I was thinking maybe putting it in, if I have enough of the mustard yellow faux Mora leather left over, this is the lining for that, could be quite nice. I kind of want to make that into a Carter messenger bag. I think that would be really cool. Yeah, hard and fast sewing rules. Don't mess with the grain. Iron everything as you go. Yes. 6600 Mum says Arena Black has free corset patterns. She does indeed. She does indeed. And there's some that I have been looking at for sure. Karen says, help, I'm finally bag making again. So far tonight, lost the bobbin race on vinyl. Oh no, and did not notice. Broke a needle and embedded it in the bag. And now I want to turn it. The zip is closed. Oh no, oh no. These things come in threes though. So you've done them all. Sal says, the easy way I'm going to make the robe is going to a secondhand shop, buy a cheap robe and then cut it out. Its pieces, trace them onto desired fabric and sew into a new robe. That's very, that is what Vivienne Westwood used to do. Nimue says, your mum's yarn arrived just as I was leaving for work on Friday. I hope I'll get it sent off tomorrow. It's gorgeous. Do you know the max limit for gifts to the UK customs free? £123. £123. Hopefully it's not more than that. Yeah, Mum said that she hadn't heard from you about sending you the monies, but I did say that you're probably waiting until you've posted it so you can give her the postage total at the same time. So yes, she can PayPal you over the money. So Felicia says, Karen, can you open the Ziploc if you get your finger behind the point and pull? Karen says, says to Felicia, yes, currently trying that. Thank you. Just wondering if I should quit for the night. Well, mistakes come in threes and you have done them all. So Felicia says, great, Karen, maybe quit after opening the zipper. Karen says, I think it's one of my locking zips. It is not moving. Oh, no. And so Felicia says, I mean, quit. Yes, not quite quit. Gay says, after spending 6 days in hospital, watching you at 2, 3, 4 in the morning was great. Love your ideas and ethos and keep doing what you are doing. It's you. Some many ideas, not enough time. Yes. So many ideas. Yes. Silver Fox says, evening, everyone. Good evening. Karen says, okay, quitting. Thanks, Felicia. Yes, come back to it fresh. So Felicia says, quit, relax, and start again with a fresh mind. Exactly. 6600 says, if you can get something like a chopstick in the zip tab hole, you might be able to push it down. Oh, yes. Nimori says, no, it's not quite that expensive. And yes, I was waiting to know the postage. I thought you were, Nimori. That makes sense. Karen says, Sian has me giggling now. Thanks, definitely in threes. Yeah. Yes. Right. Let us iron our Starship Enterprises so that we can cut our Starship Enterprises out. This is one of my hard and fast rules of sewing, is ironing my fabric and patterns before I use them. But that's not for everybody, and again, I'm not saying that you have to do that. I just find that I get a better result if I do it. But ones that I will say that are hard and fast are, don't fuss with the grain line, and iron your seams as you go. Don't cross the seams until they have been ironed. Now, I'm not going to need to iron all of this, because I won't need all of it. I'm only going to need a small amount for the lining of this. So I have ironed what I need. That is something I do frequently as well. Iron what I need and leave the rest as was. There we go, right. So I'm not lining this up selvage to selvage because there is a giant print edge on these. So I'm lining up the print. Oh, maybe I should have ironed a little bit more. Yeah, thankfully. And that that one over. It can go there. That one can go there. There we go. Using minimal fabric, there should be enough for me to make a shirt out of the rest of this. Alison says, happy Sunday, Shan and Peeps. Greetings from what will be a very wet Bendigo by the end of the week. Shan, how is Chiana today? Very well, thank you. Caroline says, done the bodice, need the bride to finally finish that. Now moving on to the modesty panel. Good luck. Nimori says, I was debating between lunch and hand sewing. Lunch wins out for now. Food. Julie says, I'm sadly in a funk, so I think I'll be going now. Okay, Julie, thank you for joining us. Nimoy says to Julie, have a lovely Sunday. Hope the funk goes away soon. And Julie says, thank you to Nimoy. So Felicia says, does the Starship print have a nap? No, it does not. It is not directional. The print, the starships go all the way, like upside down and the right side out. Yeah. They're in space as well. And this is aligning. So I'm being economical with the fabric because in space there is no up or down. And this is going to be on the inside of a jacket. So I am being economical with my silk. But the starships are going. I think if I was making a shirt out of this, I would do it. Yeah, the badges and the Federation emblem. So that is the top and this is the bottom. So this piece technically is upside down. But as I say, it is the lining of the jacket. And I am being economical with it because I want to nest these two pieces. If it had like a nap, like the fabric felt good one way and bad the other, like the corduroy I was cutting out yesterday, then yes, I totally would obviously adhere to the nap, but it doesn't. It just, the print does have a direction. But I'm not worrying about it. Because, again, it's going to be on the inside. Now you said that, should I make the, no. Like, should I make the back the right way up? Because that's the bit that's going to get seen. Oh. Because the back, believe it or not, will be seen more than the front because of the way that jackets go on. So should I make this bit the right way up and then nest this piece in? Okay. And then that bit can go there. And that bit can go over there. So still using the same amount of fabric, but now, yes. Okay, you win. Thank you for making me think about it. Thank you for making me think about it, because yeah, having this back piece be the right way up makes sense, because when you open the jacket, it will be the bit that gets seen. When it's not being worn, the front piece, without showing people, will never be seen. So that bit can be upside down. And these bits are on the interior pocket that, again, will never be seen. So now, do I go for silver buttons or copper buttons? I'm thinking I might try silver, because all my other, I've made 3 of these. This will be my 4th. All my other ones of these have got copper buttons on them. Yeah. No, that is the best position for that. I'm thinking maybe silver might be good. I will come and answer the chat when I've got this pinned on in just a second. And my pocket lining. Okay. Here we go. Right, let's catch up with the chat and then get this cut out. How are we doing? How are we doing? How are we doing? How are we doing? Here we are. Alison says to Julie, take care and ensure you do something that will help you cheer you up. Yep. Silver Fox says to Alison, hope you have avoided the flooding. Amy says pre-wash fabric and iron fabric and patterns. Pre-wash fabric and iron fabric and patterns is something my mum taught me. Yes, pre-washing fabric, that's the other one. That's not negotiable. You must do it. Treat the fabric in the way that you're going to treat the garment. Julie says, thanks, Alison, I will. Sophie Alicia says, cotton silk lining will feel lovely, I'm sure. It does feel very nice. It's not slippery enough for the sleeves, which is why I'm not cutting the sleeves out of this. I'm going to cut them out of that navy lining you can just see there. Sophie Alicia says, I'm keen to see this geeky jacket. Me too. Alison says to Silver Fox, touch wood we have, but there was a lot of water about when I was driving around. We have people from Rochester and Ukiah at the showgrounds escaping the floods. Oh, itchy nose. Trisha says, good morning, Shannon Peeps. Good morning. Conchetta says, good morning, everyone. Oh, I've lost the chat again. Oh, how did I do that? I didn't mean to do that. Oh, no. Oh, no. Where did you go? Oh, where's the chat gone? How did I do this? How did I do that? I didn't mean to do that. I want my chat back. How did I get my chat back last time? I can't remember. This is the second time this has happened to me. No. Oh. You guys have gone. There you are. Oh, now it's loading. Come on, chat. I can't refresh the page because I will lose everything. There you are. Oh dear. I hate when that happens. Conchetta says, good morning. I totally overslept. Hope everyone is well. Good morning. So Felicia says, yeah, the flooding is terrible. I was supposed to have been on a retreat in Warburton, Victoria this weekend, but got a bad virus and had to cancel. Then the flooding cancelled it for all of us. Oh, I'm so sad. Silver Fox says, silver sounds good for the buttons for the jacket. Nimue says, I finally cut out the dress from my friend's wedding last night and was relieved the print doesn't have an up or a down. Made squeezing the dress out and cutting double layers a lot easier. Very nice, yes. Alison says, silver buttons. Silver Fox says, stay safe to Alison and Sophie Alicia. Nimue says, silver looks good with blue. Yeah, I agree. I'm thinking I'm going to go for silver. Michelle says, morning peeps, happy Sunday from rainy Bermuda. Hope you're all well. Very well, thank you. So Felicia says, all around is so wet. Roads washed away, people displaced. So sad. Yes. Yes, I hope it resolves quickly as possible. Alison says to So Felicia, that is no good that you're feeling unwell. I was wondering about Warburton. What retreat were you to go on? Natalie says, I've just been playing pattern Tetris to get the button up shirt with collar and bishop sleeves out of 1.5 meters. Very stressful. Bishop sleeves out of that little amount of fabric. Well done. Alison says to Silver Fox, thank you. Nimue says, also great injustice. I didn't bite the dental surgeon, and the fabric shop didn't have anything I was looking for. No, you're owed fabric then. You have one in the bank. So Felicia says, I was going to go on a bag making sewing retreat with Tori from Seems Legit. Oh, cool. Alison says to So Felicia, in regards to Rochester, this is the second time it's been flooded out within 10 years. You would think that something would be done so it didn't happen again. Fingers crossed it will this time. Karen says, yay, the bag is done. So much for easy sew tonight. I put a picture in the Facebook group. Thanks for the hints. Awesome. I shall have a look. Alison says to So Felicia, I love Seems Legit. Lucky you. I should keep my eyes open when Tori does another retreat. So Felicia says, congratulations to Karen. And it takes so long to repair the roads too. Yes. And Amy says, oh dear, we are lost in space. Yes. Lost in space. Okay. Let's cut out the lining fabric. Okay. So I have lots left over, which is good because I can definitely see myself making a top out of this. Although it probably would be a by hand London and a top. So maybe I won't for a while anyway. Right, let's get the rest of this cut out. And put in my little notches as I go. Okay, little pocketses that once I have closed the button on them, after I've sewn the button on or put the button on and sewn the buttonhole, never get opened again. Pocketses. Pincushion is always on the wrong side of the table because, of course, it is. Okay. Pocket facing. I've been listening to an Anne McCaffrey book called Catalyst. It's about the bark cats that live, basically Maine Coon cats that live on spaceships. And oh my God, it's so sad. Like, kitty kidnapping and murder, and it's just, oh, I don't mind it so much when it's people, but cats, no. don't like it. I was listening to it last night to go to sleep to, and it got to a scene and I was just like, I can't listen to this. This is disturbing. This is distressing me. Gianna was curled up next to me purring. It was just like, oh. So my poor cat got hugged a lot last night. She was like, why you touch me? Why you insist on touching me? But yeah, this book, Gianna, no. So yeah, I put Good Omens on instead to go to sleep to. It was just like, nope, can't be doing with this. Cannot be doing with this. And I mean, I've listened to like Outlander and all sorts of stuff with lots of like horrific things going on to sleep to. But this one was just like, nope. That's far too depressing. I think maybe that's another reason I like kind of the books that I like that are, I haven't been reading kind of the more adult side of things too much, because whilst there is loss in young adult fiction, there's not too much of it and it's not usually horrific. This one was like kitties. And yeah, too much for my fragile little brain to handle. So like, no. Amy says, never mind. Daisy Chain Stitcher says, hey peeps, tuning in late today. Oops, no worries, welcome. Conchetta, silver would be a subtle nod to the communicator pins on track. Oh yeah, it would, wouldn't it? Although it's going to be covered in so many other things. I'm thinking maybe black might be another option. But I think silver, I'm kind of silver or black. Trisha says, love the sound of scissors cutting fabric. Same with the clicking of knitting needles. Yes, me too. Alison says, I've nearly finished the Lyra dress from Tilly and the Buttons. I made one out of some beautiful round from Spotlight. The fabric features beautiful Aboriginal paintings. Ooh, nice. Alison says, Shan, did you join the Spotlight group on Facebook? I haven't yet, because I would have to lie, because it says it's for Australians only. And I obviously don't live in Australia, so I would have to lie on the questions. So yeah. Sal says, such is the cycle of the weather for us in Australia. We have droughts which cause both fires and floods because everything is so dry it burns and can't absorb the rain, so it floods. Alison says to Trisha, me too. Sounds of sewing. Joe says, I love the sound of cutting. Me too. For me, it kind of sounds like crunchy footsteps in the snow. I know that's not what everyone hears, but it's what I hear. I do love it. Nimue says, that sounds beautiful. And it does indeed. Alison says to Nimue, I've been on a sewing roll lately and will post all of my latest makes on the Facebook group. Would you like the link to the Spotlight fabric? Yes, always. We'd love to see. Sal says, I'm listening to Stephen King's new novel, Fairy Tale. Nope, can't do Stephen King. And having said that, The Gunslinger series, I inhaled that as quickly as he wrote them. I love that series. That is incredibly graphic and violent in places. But for some reason I can cope with that. But his horrors and those ones I can't do. Susan says to Alison, I just ordered the Lyra dress pattern, have seen so many lovely ones made up. Are you in the Bendigo ASG group? Photo it in the latest newsletter. Monica says, good morning, Shan. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Natalie says, lol, remember when Stephen King said he was retiring like 10 books ago? Yeah. Nimue says to Alison, I'm sure someone would love the link. Not sure I want to order from across the world. German customs is pretty harsh. Oof, yes. Alison says to Susan, yes, I am. I am the one wearing the teal colour Nova coat. Nice. So Felicia says, I recently signed up to listen to a podcast by a lady interviewing sewists, but after binge listening to what was available, can't remember how to find the podcast app again. Karen says, I'm going to take an early night, I think. Thanks for tonight, peeps. It's always so relaxing to have you guys chatting in the background while I sew. So stay safe and have a good week. Thank you for joining us, Karen. So Felicia says, recently, as in a few months ago. I haven't really been listening to podcasts. I'm not really gotten into them. I don't know which one. There's a few. sewing related ones. But I haven't really got into listening to podcasts. I have watched the first episode of Talkville, and I liked that very much and have signed up and will listen to more of them. I am currently halfway through season 8 of Smallville, which I am thoroughly enjoying. I've never really gotten into listening to podcasts, and I don't know why. Okie dokie. Nearly done with this. Just making sure I get all my notches in, which I have done. So that's one nearly finished. It still needs sleeves. It still does need sleeves, but they will be next when I get the slippery proper lining fabric out. And this one. I'm way behind with the chat again. Sorry about that. 2 secs. Let's catch up with the chat. Una says, I love the Love to Sew podcast. Sal says, fairy tale isn't horror, it's like a king's version of Narnia. Oh, maybe that I could get on board with. Interesting, I shall have to have a look. So Felicia says, can't remember the name either. Yeah, I never did podcasts until I saw Janelle from Rosary Apparel mention it. Ah, okay. Una says, I love podcasts, great for listening to when out walking or in the car. See, I'm always in an audiobook. I'm always in a fantasy land. Una says, actually, I have my own podcast if anyone here runs their own business. It's called She Leads Business and is on all major platforms. Oh, very cool. Very cool, Una. Eliza says, good morning from a chilly Ohio in the US, 36 degrees Fahrenheit, 2 degrees centigrade here currently. Brrr, that is cold. Alison says, although I have subscribed to Spotify, I haven't listened to any podcasts either. I'm going to show, I can't work out Spotify. I tried it a few times and it's just like, I don't understand what's going on. So I've kind of given up on it. Daisy Chain Stitcher says, I listen to old live streams while sewing when I'm home alone. Audiobooks don't really work for me because I tend to get distracted and would be skipping back and forth all the time. So Felicia says, I tried to find it as I was planning the road trip to Victoria. And Moy says, I like podcasts, but never tried the sewing ones. I think sewing is a I want to see the thing for me. Yeah, I can see that. So Felicia says it was in interviewing people that sew and how they got into it, etc. Wasn't the Stitches Brew, was it? I know Gabby and Megan did that one a while ago. Eliza says, I know you have probably already said, but what are you wearing and what is that lovely fabric? It's another Victory Patterns Jackie dress because it's nice and high-necked. This is a Ponte Roma that I got from the Textile Centre many years ago, and it was called Electric Reeds, and I love it. Alison says to Sophie Felicia, there was a book in Big W. It was written by women who were in concentration camps during World War II. Although it would be a sad story, I think it was. I will get it and read it. Oh, I'm not sure where that yawn came from. I do apologise. Interesting. Right, now we've got proper lining fabric to do. How much of this did he give me? Should have asked for 5 meters. I think I've only got 3. 1, 2. Yeah, I've only got 3. Never mind. Don't think I'm going to get everything out of this that I wanted to, but it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Oh, need to turn the iron on. So let's sit and chat whilst the iron warms up. Vox3D says, how is the neck of the dress you are wearing sewn to stay up? Is it fully lined? There is a facing that comes to there. And then it's got button loops and buttons on the back. Hopefully you could see that. Caroline said, need Mark to deal with third end to be able to go further with dress, so put it away for now. Wise. As lovely as doggy paw prints would be on it, probably not what the bride is after. Natalie says, what lining fabric would you recommend for wool pants? Something that you like the feel of next to your skin, and that is slippery. I really like this stuff. It's the viscose acetate lotus lining from Lady McElroy. I love it, and it comes in all the colours. So Felicia says, yes, I think it will be sad and interesting read, Alison. Yeah, I can't read things like that. I mean, I'm obviously aware that things like that happened, but the idea of reading something that was real life and is awful, I like fantasy. I always have. That's just how my little brain works. Right. So I need to get a full dress lining, some jacket sleeves, and I was hoping to get a skirt lining out of this as well, but I really don't think I'm going to. I don't think I'm going to get all of that out of this 3-meter piece. This is the quality content you will sign up for. Me ironing fabric. Mum always irons hers with a double layer, and I can't get my head around that. It drives me nuts. I'm like, no, you need to iron a single layer. She's like, but you have to do it 2 times because it doesn't all fit on the ironing board. It's like, but if it's a double layer and it's a slightly thicker fabric, I mean, it would probably work for this one, but that just won't get all the creases out of both sides, and you might iron a crease in on the underneath where you can't see what's going on, and I don't want to iron in a permanent crease to the fold either. Right, turn it around, do the other side. You can see how much fluff this has picked up from the floor. Realise that we need to get the hoover in here. Nearly done. There we go. Put that up there, sort that out in a second. See what you guys were chatting about whilst I was being incredibly entertaining. Let's see. Where did we get to with the chat? Read that. Silver Fox says, I read to escape the world, so tend not to read non-fiction. It often makes my depression worse. Yes, no, I am on board with that one, 100%. Himru says, we're allowed to use literature for escapism. It's always served that purpose amongst many others. Reality is harsh enough. Yes, for sure. For sure. Sophie Lucia says, I know what you mean, Sian. I prefer fantasy in my downtime. I was shaking when I saw the movie Schindler's List in the cinema and can't bring myself to watch it again. I've never seen it. I can't bring myself to watch it at all. So no. Sophie Lucia says, I have plenty of fabric you can iron over here. No thanks. Una says, perfect to watch, listen to as I cut out, sewing a royal blue skip-up bodysuit with 3/4 sleeves. Nice. Natalie says, I'd rather watch you iron fabric than watch other sewers cut out pattern pieces on creased fabric. It gives me the willies. Lol. Yes, me too. I don't know how people do it. It drives me nuts. Carol says, I agree with you about reading life horror. To me, there is enough real life horror going on nowadays without reading about previous horrors. I hope that doesn't sound too selfish. I'm with you, and protecting your mental health in any way that works for you. And we were watching, well, when we were at Big Bird's, Mum had a Wallander style, young Wallander style program on. And I know that's fiction. I can't do it. It's too dark and gritty for me. And there was a scene described by this person who was a witness, and it was a two-sentence description of this thing that had happened to him when he was a child, and it's still with me now. And that was when we were there, August. And I had nightmares that night from this 2-line description of this thing that had happened, and it was just, it's like I just can't do it. I cannot. My mind holds on to things that are horrific and won't let them go, and it's not healthy. I'm fully aware of that. But it was just one of those things where mum loves those kinds of shows, and obviously not for the horrific violence. She loves the detective side of it, and like the working out of the problem and the solving. But for me, I was just like, I can't. And like I literally had nightmares, and did not sleep well that night at all. And I've listened to a few things where they're like, why do you remember things that have happened in your lifetime that were embarrassing or make you cringe? And it's because the more your brain revisits these things, the more hard and fast they become in your memory. So you have to. It's easier said than done, and I can't do it. But you have to like let them go, and that's my trouble. I can't do it. I revisit them, and it's like poking the sore spot, and it's just not healthy for me. So yeah, I mean, this is why I watch things like Smallville and Supernatural, and like Supernatural. I didn't find it scary. I found it fascinating and interesting, but I didn't find it terrifying, even though some of it was scary, because I knew it was like fantasy fiction, and like Wendigos don't exist. Like I'm fully aware that it isn't real, but I watched that when I was 13 or 14, and that's stayed with me forever and terrified me as a child, or a 13, 14-year-old, like thoroughly terrified of that. And clowns, and I mean, the fear of clowns is not unique to me. Lots of people are afraid of clowns for good reason. Clowns are scary, and I just I'm aware that but it was done in such a way that it was meant to be terrifying, and Supernatural was meant to give you jump scares, but it wasn't meant to be terrifying, or at least I didn't find it that way. Plus it also had Jensen Ackles in it, which not the worst thing in the world. But yeah, I remember watching a movie, Copycat, which was a serial killer, about a serial killer, and then somebody was copycatting the serial killer's murders, and that has stuck with me for years as well, because it was based on a true story, and that actually happened to somebody. Like, I mean, I do watch Criminal Minds, and I know some of those were based on true stories, and the thought that those things actually happen to people, like, how can anyone be that evil? Like, just no. So yeah, protecting your mental health by consuming content that makes you happy. And I'm like, there's nothing wrong with other people enjoying those kinds of things, and obviously they do, because they keep getting made, but my brain can't let them go. It fixates on them, and it's just, yeah. So no. So Felicia says, true that, Carol, not at all selfish. Yeah, I agree. Kathy says, morning, Shannon Peeps. Good morning. Sal says, that is just like I'm in no hurry to watch the Jeffrey Dahmer show on Netflix. I can't even. There's enough fictional violence to watch without needing to watch real violence that happened to real people. No, just no. Natalie says, if anyone needs a mental health pick-me-up, I recommend Jim Gaffigan, a stand-up comedy special on Netflix. Family-friendly humour for the most part. Awesome. Jojo says, hello all, hope you're all well. Totally forgot about the live again. Sorry for the message earlier, Shan. Civ Brain was in control. That's all right. I looked at them, but I didn't read them properly. I shall read them later. But I see you have a new suitcase, which is exciting. Jennifer says, I have a history degree and read miles of textbooks, human caused disaster stuff. Absolutely cannot watch things like Schindler's List. Nope. Una says, I worked with a specialist in neuroplasticity techniques to release my negative patterns from things I experienced as a child and adult. Works amazingly. They now work with all my clients also. Interesting. Philomena says, the more emotion is attached to a thing, the better you remember. And what you remember most might be that the emotion was actually memory. What you remember most might be that emotion. The actual memory might change. That is normal. Memory is not perfect. I do the same as you. Watch perfect fantasy. Yes. Yeah, I mean, like the fantasy I watched, you know, like Lord of the Rings, like those orcs, terrifying. But you know, I'm kind of 100% sure they don't exist in our world. Okay, 99% sure they don't exist in our world. Not to say they don't exist in the universe, but on planet Earth, I think we're safe. Una says, I avoid the news because so much of it is catastrophized and ignores the wonderful things that happen in the world. That's why I really like the Philip DeFranco show for news. And obviously it's very US centric because he is a US creator, but he does a mix of like hard news stories as well as light and fluffy stuff as well as entertainment news. And I really like his take on it as well. So that's where I get majority of my news from. Sue says, Mum, me and Mum watched it when I was a teen. We videoed it off the TV and the recording stopped before the end. We were left petrified when we saw the final monster. It was nowhere near as scary as the clowns. Yeah, when we saw the final monster, it was nowhere near as scary as the clown. Yeah, no, it's a spider, isn't it? And the reason that Stephen King devolves a lot of his stuff into spiders is in the Gunslinger books, actually. He walked into a barn when he was a child on a farm and came across a dead chicken's body being consumed by a bunch of red spiders, and it freaked him out, and that image has stuck with him for his majority of his adult life, which is why a lot of stuff revolves around spiders, apparently. And again, he said this in the Gunslinger books, because one of the things I love about the Gunslinger books is that he features himself, like this fantasy world crosses over into our world, and he features himself as a character in this book, although he's not meant to be a character. Yeah, I find that fascinating as well. Nimue says, there's a reason I mostly write romance and fix it. My November project is actually Jen, but still making things better for my characters. Yes. Sar says, Sean, have you seen The Boys? Jensen Ackles is the new Susan and is as a supervillain. Yes, I have. I love The Boys. Mum hates it. Again, I like that. That's incredibly violent and horrible and gross and graphic. But it's kind of, in my head, it's crossed over into comedy violence rather than like physical violence. I don't know, but yes, I have seen it. He's Soldier Boy, isn't he? Captain America. I really like The Boys. I find it. I was really surprised, actually. My ex didn't like it. I was really surprised by that, because he likes comic book stuff and like quite, graphic comic book stuff, but he really didn't like that one. So we didn't end up watching it together, which is fine. But yes, I have watched The Boys. Jensen Ackles as Soldier Boy. Interesting. Okay. Right. So, for the pinafore, which is what this lining's for, I've lengthened the skirt by 2 inches so that it's longer than the skirt of the regular dress that I make. So I am going to lengthen the skirt on this one by 2 inches as well. And I will hem this. I mean, I could lengthen it by 1 inch, but I'm going to hem the skirt by 1/4 of an inch with bias binding, and then I'll hem this one a little bit more by turning it up and turning it up again. So I would rather have the same 2 inches to play with that I do with my main skirt. I'm completely out of shot, so I'm just random disembodied voice waffling at you now. Okay, so I've drawn on that extra 2 inches along the bottom, and now I'm going to pin that in place so that when I cut it out, it doesn't shift, because this is shifty fabric. And then we will do the same for the other side. And I'm cross-cutting this out. There's no, obviously, no direction to the print on this because it's a plain fabric and there is no print. But I'm cutting it out folded this way because folded the other way, it's not wide enough for the skirt pattern pieces. So where do we get to with the chart? Una says, I hear all the major stuff anyway, but at least it's not in my face. Yes, same for the news. Rachel Lynn says, morning all, good morning. Makey says, you shouldn't be living my professional life. I work as a psychologist with offenders. Quite interesting, but it makes you harder. Wow, yes, definitely. I like my fluffy little brain and my fluffy little world that I live in. I'm fully aware that it's not outside of my bubble, but my bubble is very fluffy. Eliza says to Nimue, how interesting, are you an author? Viv says, I had a rough time with my last boss who was gaslighting bully. Found Ted Lasso and lifted my spirits so much I can't tell you. Seen both series through over 10 times now. Cool, interesting. Klein's Muans says, I'm super sensitive about such things too. I actually skipped the villain scenes in Disney movies when I was a kid. I've never had to do that. I don't think. Remember when the episode of Friends with Phoebe is like walks in them watching Old Yeller, and her mum is like completely censored everything for her. No, I've never had to do that, but yeah, I do think about what I consume for my mental health. Conchetta says, I've read most of King and I've never read or watched it. I also love Tim Curry, but Scary Clowns, no thank you. Yeah, nope. Nope. Tim Curry will always be Rocky Horror Picture Show. Or the devil in Legend for me. Did you enjoy the Gunslinger series, Conchetta? I think that's my favourite. The movie was terrible. Don't watch the movie. The movie was awful. They tried to put 7 books into one movie. No, don't do that. Nimue says to Eliza, I dabble in fan fiction. I actually prefer to stay a hobbyist rather than the stresses of professional publishing. Maria says, good day from Long Island, New York. What are you working on? Looks nice. I'm cutting out lining for my 5 pieces from one pattern project. I got 2 of the pieces cut out yesterday. And I am now attempting to cut out the linings for at least one of them. Jojo says, I love The Boys too. Long-suffering husband has all the graphic novels and says I should read them. I'm not so sure because he followed up that sentence by telling me that the books are much, much worse. I don't think so. God, no, the TV series is terrible. So Felicia says, it's getting late here in Camden, New South Wales. So going to say bye. Good night, everyone. Needed the chat. Well, thank you for joining us. It was very nice to see you. Charlie says, I have the fluffy world bubble. They know me here. Lol. Yes. Fluffy world bubbles. Yeah, mental health is far too important not for you not to protect it in any way that works for you, as long as you're not hurting other people, obviously. But that should go without saying. You'd think, you'd be surprised about some people. But yeah, I do like my little fluffy happy bubble that I live in. And still mental health is an issue, but then mental health isn't something that you choose. It's a brain chemistry thing, isn't it? Do you like the sound of fabric being cut? I do think it sounds like people walking on crunchy snow. I'm not even in shot anymore, am I? Sorry. I can't remember if this stuff drops awfully on the bias or not. I guess I will find out. I guess I will find out. This is definitely not the most fun fabric to cut out. It does sew together really nicely. I will say that for it. And it presses very nicely as well, which is always good. But it is not the most fun that you've ever had cutting out fabric. That is for sure. But that is the skirt front done. I'm still trying to decide if I line the denim skirt or not. Because I do wear slips under my clothes so that they don't stick to my tights and things. But I'm also making some dresses that are longer than this. So maybe I should cut out a lining for the skirt. Right, now I need to rejig the fabric so I can get to the other side to cut out the other layer as economically as possible. Fun times. And then we should be able to fold it in half and cut out regularly. Teresa says, I am now cutting through the buttonhole on my Matilda bodice that I made into a peplum top. Love this so much. Awesome. Awesome. Please do share on the Peeps group if you are a member, because we would love to see. We would love to see. Okay. skirt panel for the skirt back pieces, which is going to be the most economical way to do it. This way, for sure. Because I want to add the 2 inches of length to the bottom of this piece as well as the front, so that they match. HSO says, hello, late arriver. What are you making? I am cutting out the lining pieces for my 5 pieces from one pattern collection that I'm doing. Una says, thanks for the company all. I finished pattern alterations and cutting out, making, and now time for a break. Thank you for joining us, Una. Rachel then says, could you do an ASMR, do you mean an ASMR video with cutting out fabric? Maybe, but I don't know how popular that would be on my channel, and you have to kind of think of the algorithm. My subscriber count and views have gone way down this month. I have no idea what I'm doing wrong, but never mind. Keep plodding along and trying new things. Natalie says, ugh, don't mention snow, please. Conchetta says, has anyone read A Court of Thorns and Roses? It was recommended to me. Is that Lee Bardugo? It rings bells. I think I have read it. Lollapalooza says, love the sound of sharp scissors cutting fabric, but ironically, I'm always nervous to take that first step. Yeah, I've gotten to the point now where it's just like, get on with it, because otherwise I could just dither for ages. Natalie says, I just realised I didn't take 2 yolks into account while playing Tetris. No burrito for me, I guess. Or if you can cut the interior out of a plain lining type fabric. That's what I would do. That's what I have done previously. Conchetta says, yes, The Gunslinger was one of my favourites. The ending that we waited for forever was absolutely perfect. It was indeed. It was indeed. Nimue says to Natalie, oh no, could you cut the inner yolks from a lining fabric? ASMR shorts. Klein's Muanez says, let's give a like for Sian now. Yes, 144 of us and 77 likes. Rachel Lynn says, apparently my autocorrect changed my words. It was supposed to say, could you do ASMR? I guess I could, but again, I don't know how appealing it would be on my channel, because there are entire channels dedicated to ASMR, and I don't want to, because it would be a very specialized video. Like Nimue said, ASMR shorts, like the sounds of the sewing room, that could be a series, yeah, for sure. But like a full-on cutting out video with, because Angela Clayton did one of those, and I started trying to watch it, but I didn't finish watching it because it was just like, actually, I prefer, like, realizing I prefer listening to you talk, rather than just, I like the sounds of the sewing room. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. But yeah, a couple of shorts, ASMR sounds of the sewing room shorts could be fun. But like an actual video, nope. Carol says, my subscriber button has been turned off and I didn't do it. Don't know whether that would alter the count of peeps. Ooh, interesting. Interesting. Because usually my subscriber count goes up by about sort of 400 to 500 a month. And recently it's gone down to like 150, which is still, you know, I'm not complaining. At all, but it's just weird that it's dropped so much. When my year in review video kind of went like mini viral for me, I was gaining like 1,000 subscribers in 28 days at that point, and then it just all kind of dropped off. again, which I get, you know, like the algorithm recommends you to a bunch of people and your channel might just not be for them, but they might enjoy that one video, which is fine. It's just strange having to appease the algorithm gods, as it were. Right, so having added that extra 2 inches, I'm just going to pin around it so that when I cut it out, nothing shifts. And I get 2 near identical cut pieces of fabric. And there we go. Richland says it does make sense. Natalie says, unfortunately, it's a cotton voile, fairly see-through, and I don't have anything similar. That's okay. I'll make do without. French seam everything, but that's just me. Nimoy says, and shorts loops for those who want to hear it over and over again. Cutting different fabrics, ripping panels, winding a bobbin. There's quite a few options. That's a good idea, Nimoy. Thank you. I shall steal that. Kleins Muanez says, when you sew a knit top with an overlocker, do you just overlock or sew it with a sewing machine too for extra security? I just use the overlocker and nothing has, like, same with this dress, completely sewn on the overlocker except for the hems and the understitching at the collar. And I've never had anything come apart on me yet. Touch wood. Or wood substitute. Yeah, no, everything that all my knits are almost exclusively sewn on the overlocker, unless there's a part that you can't because you have to stop your stitching at a certain point or something. But then usually there's a way of finishing them on the overlocker. It's a little bit jaggedy at the end, never mind. Okay. But no, most sewn exclusively on the overlocker and nothing has ever fallen apart on me. How about you guys? How about you guys? Right, let's get this bit cut out carefully. Again, you can't see me, so I've got some ASMR going on now. Well, except that I'm talking all over it. Okay, mark in my notches and then take this piece off because I still need this pattern piece to cut out the dress that I'm doing from the denim viscose, or denim coloured viscose. And when I take pattern pieces like this off and just put the fabric in the to be sewn pile, because this is not cut on the fold, this has got a centre back seam. So what I'm going to do is with one of my orange pins are the back. So, you know, like if I'm sewing something, these indicate the back of the garment. So I'm going to take my orange pin and put it in the centre back seam. Now there are notches. There are double notches for the side, so, and I've put those in, and technically there's triple notches for the back, but I don't bother doing that because I put the orange pin in. So, you know, working out which side is the centre back seam and which side is the side seam is completely doable without that pin, but I find that it's just a really obvious and easy visual way of going, aha, there is that piece that there is that seam that I need to sew together. It's just what works for me. Like white pins are the front, orange pins are the back, and yeah. Okay, so now that I've got that cut out, I can fold this with the selvages together in the usual manner and cut out the rest of the lining pieces. But I do need to make sure that this is lying nice and flat and on grain, which with something this slippery is always fun. Why do fabrics want to misbehave so much? It's always the ones that look so nice when they're being worn, like all the drapey fluid ones. They look fabulous when they're being worn, but actual process of working with them, not so much fun. Not so much fun. Okay. There we go. Let's see, where do we get to with the chat? Conchetta says, good news. I was at Joann's this weekend and noticed that some of the newer pattern envelopes have finished garment measurements on the back. Yay! Amy did say that they should be showing up. The improvements should be showing up on the new pattern. So that's awesome. Nimue says, the only thing I habitually sew on the machine before overlocking on knit projects are cuffs and neckbands. I'm terrified it will go wrong and a nightmare to unpick. That is very true. Susan says, what is ASMR, please? I don't know what it stands for, but it's the kind of like soothing sounds. There's a whole genre of it on YouTube, and there's lots of different ones, but it's just soothing or sounds of different things that are relaxing. And what does ASMR stand for, peeps? Come on, one of you knows. Kleins Muenes says to Nimue, that's a very good argument. Yep. Lalapalooza says, yes, Mimi G has pushed hard to get the finished measurements put on the envelopes. Yes, indeed. Rachel Lynn says, I haven't had anything fall apart from my overlocker ever since I started tucking in my threads. Ah, yes, you must finish the ends. Kleins says, ASMR is when you just hear the noises of life, just like walking or cutting or cooking noises. No music, no Foley, no talking. There are some channels that do tell you stories in like soothing voices. Like there's a whole weird, wonderful world around it all. And I'm not saying weird because you know what I mean. It's like a genre in and of itself. Just making sure I'm not getting any of my pieces on bits where there is no fabric underneath. Don't want to cut out pieces that aren't fully doubled. That would be bad. Itchy nails. That one. That one over that. That one doesn't need to be lined. Okay. We need the sleeve for the jacket. And then I've got waistcoat lining, but I don't think I'm going to be able to get the entirety of the waistcoat lining out of this. Yeah, I don't think. Oh, I think I'm only going to be a little bit too short for it as well. Oh, that's sad. Ooh, you know how I was saying earlier, if you cut something on the cross grain, cut it all on the cross grain. I'm going to cut one lining piece on the cross grain and the rest of it on the straighter grain. I'm going to ignore my own advice, but it is a lining piece and the body of it is cut in the correct way, and that means that I will be able to get the, yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. Sal says ASMR is autonomous sensory meridian response. Thank you. Monica says, that's what I struggle with. What do I sew? What to do with an overlocked threads? Tuck, weave, stitch down. I pull them taut so that they become a long, thin thing that I can thread through a big needle, and then I thread them back on themselves and cut off the excess. And again, nothing's fallen apart on me. Heather says, pins, brilliant idea. Lollapalooza says, lol, my husband just commented that this is like my Sunday morning church. Nimue says to Vilmeen, I find the back of corduroy quite clingy, so would line a jacket. I am, in fact, lining a corduroy dress that's been a work in progress for 2 years for that reason. Yes. Caroline also says autonomous sensory meridian response for ASMR. And says, she says snap to Sal. A Russworm says, good morning from Canada. Good morning. Nimue says, I might be getting too attached to this project. Just stitch the outer skin layer of my fingertip to it. Yeah, that's not good. That's not good. This putting your heart and soul into a project, but putting your skin in as well might be a step too far. I only said might though. Now, do I fully line the dress that I'm going to do from my viscose? Because bearing in mind, like I say, I usually wear slips with these things, and I've never had a problem with them sticking in the past. But I am planning on wearing these things layered up quite a lot, so maybe I should. I don't know. What do you guys think? Cutting out linings is one of my least favourite parts of sewing. Linings and interfacings, I don't enjoy cutting those things out. Maureen says, thank you to Nimue. Okay, let's make sure green line is straight on that one. And again, if you, like, I do it by eye just because I've done it for so long and I'm pretty accurate. If you are worried about getting the grain line of your pattern piece on grain, then measure. It's a corner that I cut at the moment because, as I say, my eye, I'm pretty good at making sure that everything is on grain. But if you are concerned about the grain of your pattern pieces, definitely measure from the grain to the selvage or the fold line to make sure that your pattern piece is being cut with the grain line that the pattern recommends. Okay. Yeah, there's absolutely no chance that I would be able to line the skirt from this 3 meters, but I have got a lining for a full dress, sleeves of a jacket, and a full waistcoat as well. I could have lined the waistcoat with the starship, the Star Trek fabric. It would have worked because whilst it's not really slippery enough for sleeves, it would be slippery enough to be worn over other things. But like I say, I want to try and preserve as much of that fabric as I can for future projects. So I have made the decision to try and get the waistcoat lining out of this fabric, which, as I say, I can do by cutting all of it on a straight of grain except for one piece, which is the side front. But I don't think that's going to be too much of a problem. Technically, this pattern isn't actually lined. But we all know how I feel about that. So I have literally just cut the pattern pieces out again to act as lining pieces. And it worked really well on my raw silk one, which is the one that I was featured in the lookbook, the Mulberry lookbook that I did the other day. I'm planning my next one of those videos. You guys seem to really enjoy it, and I enjoyed doing it. It was a lot of work, but it was fun. It was fun. The next one's going to be the navy one. And I actually got sent a handbag for review, which is going to be featured in that one. And there's going to be a few new pieces made for it, a couple of pieces that Mum's knit for me, some new pieces from Lily Silk. There's going to be some pieces that I am going to alter and repair. Do you remember the dress that I made at the beginning of the year in navy with the open split sleeves? I've never worn it. I love it, but I have never worn it because of those stupid sleeves. So I have got some navy crinkle viscose in my stash. Let me turn you around a bit because I'm going to be down here for a little while. I'll turn you around so you can see. Yeah, so look, it's on the cross grain. Do as I say, not as I am showing you. But yeah, I've never worn that dress because those sleeves annoy me so much. So I haven't got enough. They don't make that fabric anymore, although I've told them to reprint it because so many of you guys liked it. It's Naturella Bouquet, but they don't make it anymore. So, and I didn't have enough to fully line the sleeves because I did try. So I ended up making an Anna top out of the little bit that I had left. So I am going to show you how I changed the sleeve from having the split in up the side to a full sleeve because I really like the shape of the sleeve. I just didn't like the opening. And then I'm going to unpick some pieces so that I can insert a lining into that sleeve with the full thing covered down, and then I'm going to tack down the open parts so that they hold in place on top of the sleeve that I'm going to put in underneath. So it's going to be a repair video. And again, it's one of those ones where it's like I made this thing. I was trying something new. It was a new to me pattern. I really like how it's turned out, except for that one piece. Glad that I tried the sleeves because the shape overall is good, but the opening is daft. Don't like that. So let's change it and make it work. And then I have a feeling that dress will get worn a lot more because it won't have like, I mean, it's a high neck. It's like the high neck like this. What? Why open sleeves? Why open sleeves? So yeah, full sleeves. And then I actually have a feeling that I'm going to steal those sleeves to put onto other things because they've got really deep cuffs, which I like. I like it a lot. Okay, so this is all pinned on. Let's start cutting it out. And some nice sounds of the sewing room. Okay. Proper full concentration face when I'm cutting this sort of stuff out. So I've gone for the waistcoat that is the same as the cream one that I featured in the Mulberry lookbook, but I've done it without the collar on it. It's an experiment. I had enough of the denim that Claire gave me to try. I think it's going to be quite nice, and I think it's going to work quite well with these pieces, although it's not part of this collection because it's a different pattern, and the whole premise of this collection is 5 pieces from one pattern. I do think it's going to look really nice with the 70s style giant collared shirts and shirt dresses that come with this, and then obviously it's going to match in with the denim skirt that's being made from the denim fabric as well. So I thought, given that I had enough of it, I thought it was a good idea to cut the waistcoat out. It wasn't something that I mentioned in my plans video for October, but the waistcoats are fairly quick to make and they take small-ish amounts of fabric. So it's going to be interesting to see what it looks like without the collar on it. But I think I like the collar, don't get me wrong. And I just think for the very wide shirts or wide collars on the shirts that I've been doing, I think that the collar as well, like 2 collars as it were, the shirt collar and the waistcoat collar were quite a lot. So I wanted to give it a try without the collar and see what I thought of that. We shall see. I didn't have enough of the denim to cut the collar out anyway. I've got a little bit of the denim left that I've put in the bag making stash. Oh, cutting out a single layer there. It was not what I wanted to do. Here we go, that's better. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting experiment. We shall see. I'm also putting up a vote on Patreon for what skirt pattern I should use for my Brielle wool. So I bought some more of that when I went to Lady McElroy in August after the after the Festival of Quilts, sorry. I bought an extra meter of it because I did have a remnant that I was going to get, and then he was like, well, I've got it by the meter and I'll sell it to you for the same price as the remnant would have been pro rata. So, you know, like the whole meter will be at the price that the remnant was priced at per meter, as it were. I am in the shop. There we go. Hello. And so I have quite a lot of that fabric now, and I want to make a skirt, a pair of trousers, and possibly a jacket with it. But the skirt is going to be part of the navy lookbook because I think navy and tan work really, really well together. But yeah, I'm going to let the Peeps, the Patreon Peeps, pick which pattern I do. Now, should I do a 3/4 circle skirt, or should I do a gored skirt from one of my vintage patterns, or should I do the Holston skirt, which I have a feeling is going to be the one that wins, because you guys usually, the Patreon Peeps are usually pretty kind to me, but every now and again they will throw me a curveball because they're like, you know, you can do it. So I'm going to put that up for a vote, and that's going up for a vote for the $5 and up tier on Wednesday this week coming. This is such a lovely colour. It's called Spectrum Blue. In case anyone is interested, and it is the Lady McElroy Lotus lining. I think I mentioned that before. It's a viscose acetate blend. So it's 100% plant-based because acetate is a plant-based fibre. It irons really beautifully, it breathes beautifully, and it is a bit of an arse to cut out because it's slippery. So you want to like add in all the pins. But it sews really nicely and it presses really nicely, and it's just really pleasant to wear. At least I find. We all know how I feel about fabric on my skin. So yeah, I really like this stuff. I am a fan. Promise I am not paid by Lady McElroy yet. Keep trying to explain to them that they should be paying me to be a brand ambassador. They're like, what? Pay you? What? Nah. Oh, I have spoken to them about possibly looking at some pattern designs. I know a lot of you really want the KB Grace dress as a pattern to be able to buy. So I've talked to them about that, possibly. But patterns do take an awful long time to develop, as we know with the super secret squirrel dress, which I still can't show you. But yes, I have been talking to them about that as well, which would be very cool. I would enjoy. Right, now, do I need this? No, I don't need this pattern piece going forward, because if I do line the blue dress, I can just use the full front piece. Again, I don't need the lining piece, so that can go. This pattern piece over here. Right, let's get this bit of the sleeve. Hello, sleeve. So this, once this is cut out, will be the Sorrento jacket completely cut out, ready to be sewn. So that's exciting. Now I can do one of those in a day, as we know. But as we also know, this one is going to have all of the patches, which I think is also going to take a day to do. So this one might take a little longer to get done, but there will be a video for that at some point. Cutting in all of my notches carefully, because the seam allowance on this is 3/8 of an inch, not the usual 5/8 of an inch. Ow, don't poke myself with it. Right, so that is my Sorrento complete. Yay! Sorrento jacket done. Nearly done with the waistcoat as well. Let's get that finished, and then that can be put to the side. And then we can try and decide what I'm going to do about the denim skirt. We'll have a look and see if I have enough of the grey version of this fabric to cut out the lining pieces from that. I don't know if I do have enough of the grey. Right, so that is the waistcoat completely cut out and ready to go, except for the interfacing for the front piece, but that's fine. That's fine, we can get to that. But let's catch up with the chat. Let's see. Nimue says, and this isn't even for me. As long as I don't get any blood on it, I'm good. It's a wedding dress, champagne viscose, and chiffon. I'm making a ring cushion. Oh, wow. Sal says to Nimue, sounds like the start of a horror movie where that happens and then the clothing kills the wearer. Nimue says to Sal, nope, no time for horror plotline. Need very efficient construction montage part of the movie, please. Yes. Susan says, I like to block fuse interfacing. It takes a bit more interfacing, but makes it so much easier and more accurate to cut out. This is true. This is very true. Klein's Muana says, unfortunately, I have to leave you guys. We are receiving guests tonight, and I have to find out if there is still a living room table under my sewing stuff. Have fun, you too, and enjoy your evening. Jen and Pin says, afternoon peeps. I got a new dress to hem and sew the lining to the zip. Not my favourite thing to do. Thanks for keeping me company. Well, thank you for joining us. And Lollapalooza says, yes, dramatic sleeves are not always practical. I bought a Michael Kors blouse with huge bell sleeves and wore it once in 3 years because it was so annoying. Yeah, this dress, like the 9345, would have you just leave the ends of the sleeves like flapping free, and they would bug the crap out of me, so I've added a cuff. Nimue says, hand sewing accomplished and no further injuries. Awesome. Lollapalooza says, this spring I popped in an elastic casing in them and wear them all the time now. Ah, awesome. Yes, corral the bottom of the sleeves for sure. New to Sewing says, good morning from California. Good morning. Marie says, hi everyone, just popped on quickly to say hello. We'll have to catch up properly later. Hello, Marie. I am working on my 5 pieces from one pattern. I see you've already made your skirt. I am working on mine, finally. Wilhelmine says, I love the sound of the sewing room. There is one tailor on YouTube that has a video where he makes bespoke jeans without music or talking. It's totally relaxing to watch or just listen to. Nice. Salsa, so that's why my 100% acetate trench coat is comfy to wear, because it's breathable. Yes. Anissa says, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Yes. Because I was a little bit wary of acetate. For some reason in my head I had that it was a polyester, but I believe, having looked it up, having Googled, so Google could be lying to me, but having Googled, it does say that it is a man-made fibre from plant extracts. So whilst it is man-made and not a naturally occurring fibre, it is made from naturally occurring items of nature. So, yes. Okie dokie, getting there slowly but surely. I really shouldn't be pulling these pieces around as much as I am to cut this out, but I am trying to make sure that the fabric is staying level and on grain underneath. And I think I just cut out one layer there. Let's get the other one done. Okay, so this goes back on to the to be cut out pile because I need it for the dress. This goes on to the pinafore dress piece. And they're going to dog bed stuffing. And my tummy's starting to rumble, so I think what I'm going to do is get these last 3 pieces cut out with you guys, finish up the chat, and then go and make myself some lunch. Because I am hungry. My tummy is telling me that it is time to eat. Okay, so that is the back bodice side cut out. Again, I need the pattern piece back in the to be cut out stash because it's going to be used for the dress. And then these pieces can go into the pinafore dress pile. And got the back yoke here. Now, because I took the collar off, I decided to add a facing of the same fabric to the back. So this part here is much bigger. There'll be a facing sewn onto it, just because of the way I chose to finish the dress, fully lining it like this. Because again, this is fully lining this dress is not part of their plan. But as Nimue was mentioning earlier, like corduroy it's actually a stretch corduroy as well, but it is very sticky. And I would not want to try and wear things underneath the dress without a full slippery lining in it. And given that that's the whole point of this pinafore dress, is to be worn over other things, yes, full lining, definitely necessary. Ooh, and now this piece I don't need again because it is for the pinafore only, as I just mentioned. So this piece can go with its pattern piece over on that pile. And then we have the final piece. Okay, notch. Rest of that, more notches. And then this piece as well needs to go into the dress to be cut pile for the denim viscose dress. And this goes into the pinafore pile, which can now get moved over to the completely finished and cut out pile, which is awesome. Okay. So I need to work out if I've got enough fabric. Ooh, yeah, like fabric for my words are hard. I need to work out if I've got enough fabric for a lining for my denim viscose dress. It's a denim colour viscose fabric. But very pleased that those are all done. So that's good. So let's see how the chat is doing. I'm going to sit down and do that actually. So hopefully don't make any of you too seasick while I do that. But I am going to sit down because my feet are hurting. Oh, that's better. Hello. Mum's muslin. Where did we get to? Sal says good day to Anessa, and Anessa says hi Sal, how goes things? Nimue says very shortened because I only did 3 semesters of chemistry. Acetate is related to vinegar. It's variants from the acid in vinegar. Interesting. Laurel says morning. Good morning from Chicago. Good morning. Sal says, are you good, Anessa? How are you? Things are good, Anessa. How are you? And Anessa says, pretty good. Starting to set up my new sewing room now that my son's bedroom is moved. Cool. Nimue says, ooh, new sewing room is always exciting. And Anessa says, yes, Nimue, super excited. I've only ever sewed in my bedroom, so it'll be a nice treat to actually have a dedicated room for sure. For sure. So yeah. It's been really fun. Thank you very much for hanging out with me for 3 hours. For those of you that were here at the beginning, thank you for listening to me waffle about my thoughts about that video. For those of you that are interested, go back and watch the first sort of 17 minutes of it to see what I'm waffling about. And I'd be really interested to hear your thoughts. You don't have to watch obviously the whole sew along again, but there is hopefully some interesting discussion at the beginning of this waffle or this hangout about comparisons in the sewing and sewing trends and that kind of thing. I think, yeah, it's an interesting topic, and hopefully I got my thoughts and views and opinions across succinctly and in a nice manner as well. But yeah, for those of you that weren't here for the beginning, if you want to go and check that out, the first sort of 20 minutes is a discussion on that one. So thank you very much for hanging out with me. It's been a lot of fun getting done something that is not my favourite. As I say, I'm going to go and have some lunch and then come back and keep sewing. I think I've got lots more to get on with. I'm wondering if I should get the Anna bodice cut out while I'm in cutting out mode. Still got 2 shirts and the shirt dress to do from this collection. Then there's the Vogue shirt to do, and then also the cardamom as well. So there's a lot of cutting out still left to do. Let's see, 3, 4, 5, 6 more things to cut out, which is not unheard of for me. You know, I usually get 11 things done at a time, don't I? So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 finished, well, nearly finished cut out projects over there. So yeah, give me 10 things to do, which is the sewing for the rest of the month. It would be nice to get it all done. So that might be what I do for the next couple of days. There is going to be hopefully proper videos on Friday and Saturday next week. I don't know what they were going to be yet. One might be the refashion of this dress. And then one might be the geeky dress with a little bit of the capsule collection sewing in between. So we shall see. But fingers crossed there will be some waffles up for you as well. I'm definitely feeling a lot perkier than I have been in a while. So we shall see. We shall see. But anyway, thank you for hanging out with me today and helping me get something done that I am definitely not a fan of. And I will see you during the week for more waffle and more sewing and all those things. So I'll try and end it gracefully now, as ever. Probably failed miserably. Bye.